My name is Linda. I am 65 years old, and just 3 days ago, I experienced the kind of heartbreak no parent should ever endure. My daughter, Rachel, the child I raised alone, the person I poured my soul into, called me with words that still echo in my chest like a cruel song. Mom, we already got married. Only the people who matter were there. Just send us the beach house keys and stop being so dramatic. Then she hung up. For a long moment, I sat in silence, the phone still warm against my ear, my heart pounding so loudly it drowned out the world. The daughter I loved more than life itself had not only excluded me from her wedding, but dismissed me as if I were a stranger. Not a mother. Not family. Just someone standing in the way of her plans. The pain was sharp, immediate, and unbearable. It felt like betrayal layered on betrayal, being denied the joy of her wedding day, and then being treated as though my only worth was the house I worked my entire life to maintain. That house wasn't just four walls and a roof. It was memory. It was safety. It was the place Rachel learned to swim, where she laughed barefoot in the sand, where we survived the years after her father abandoned us. And now, all she wanted from me was the keys. I could barely breathe as the realization sank in. For decades, Rachel had been my partner against the world. Every Christmas, every birthday, every milestone, we had been together. And yet in one casual phone call, I had been erased. But pain has a strange way of sharpening memory. As I sat there, tears threatening to fall, another feeling began to surface, unease. This wasn't sudden. This wasn't random. It had been building, slowly, over years. And if I was honest with myself, the warning signs had been there from the moment Rachel first introduced me to Ethan. That call for the beach house wasn't the beginning of the story. It was the final straw. 2 years before that painful phone call, Rachel came to me with a voice full of excitement. Mom, I want you to meet someone. His name is Ethan, and he really gets me. Her joy was so bright that I ignored the knot in my stomach. That Friday evening, she arrived glowing, a spark in her eyes I hadn't seen since childhood. Ethan stepped out of the car in a sharp tailored suit, roses in hand, his smile polished and precise. He complimented everything, the porch, the garden, even the curtains inside the window. I remember thinking, no one notices curtains unless they are trying too hard. At dinner, he charmed me with questions about my nursing career, praised my lasagna like it was a 5-star meal, and even offered to do the dishes. On the surface, he was perfect. Too perfect. His gestures felt rehearsed, like a script practiced in the mirror. But Rachel's laughter at his half-funny jokes and the way she leaned toward him disarmed me. I told myself not to ruin her moment with my doubts. Yet, over time, Ethan's presence grew heavier, almost suffocating. He encouraged Rachel to prioritize us and spend less time with friends, less time with me. Slowly, our daily calls became weekly, then monthly, until her voice was nearly absent from my life. He never demanded it outright. Instead, he wrapped control in soft logic and gentle words. Successful couples put each other first, Rachel explained one evening. Her tone was apologetic but firm, repeating his philosophy as though it were her own. Each phrase chipped away at the bond we had built. The first deep cut came when she posted her engagement online before even telling me. A sparkling diamond on her hand, a caption that read, he asked. I said yes. Dozens of friends cheered her on, assuming I already knew. But I learned the news with strangers. When I asked about the engagement party, she faltered. Ethan's family has traditions. It's mostly just for them. Her voice was full of excuses, but the truth was clear. My daughter was no longer making her own choices. It was always about what Ethan thought. It wasn't just distance anymore. It was isolation. And I knew, deep in my chest, that something darker was taking root. The unease inside me grew heavier with every passing month. Then came the conversation that shattered any illusion I had left. "Mom," Rachel said one evening, her voice calm but distant, "Ethan thinks we need more boundaries. He says I rely on you too much. We'll be spending Christmas with his family this year. Oh, and about the beach house. Ethan feels it would be better if we had a place of our own." The words hit me like a storm surge. The beach house wasn't just property. It was the heartbeat of our family. And now Ethan wanted it. Not Rachel. Ethan. That was when I stopped doubting myself. This man wasn't just controlling my daughter. He was dismantling her life piece by piece. I decided to act. I began quietly. Simple searches on the internet. His name typed into search bars. At first, there wasn't much, a vague LinkedIn profile, a few half-polished bios. But with the help of an old investigator friend, the puzzle pieces began to fall into place. Ethan had a pattern. Before Rachel, there was Emma, a woman from a wealthy restaurant-owning family. Before Emma, there was Sarah, the daughter of a man with a trust fund. Both relationships ended suddenly, both women isolated from their families, and in each case, money had gone missing. But the most chilling discovery came next. Ethan's grandfather had been involved in shady real estate deals with my late husband, Rachel's father, decades ago. Deals that left Robert bankrupt after millions vanished. Money that was traced back to Ethan's family. Money that, by law, belonged to Rachel as Robert's heir. This wasn't coincidence. Ethan hadn't just met my daughter. He had researched her, targeted her, and walked into her life like a wolf in sheep's clothing. For days, I wrestled with what to do. Should I confront him? Should I beg Rachel to open her eyes? But then the idea came to me. If Ethan wanted a gift, I would give him one he could never forget. I gathered every piece of evidence, bank records, court documents, emails between him and an associate named Marcus Webb, and placed them neatly in a leather portfolio. I wrapped it in silver paper, tied it with a white bow, and slipped in a note. "Congratulations on your marriage. Every husband deserves to know his wife's family history. With love, Linda." Then I left it at their door. The reaction came faster than I expected. That afternoon, my phone rang. It was Rachel's number, but Ethan's furious voice thundered through the speaker. "What the hell is wrong with you, you crazy old witch? How dare you send us this garbage?" I kept my voice steady. "Hello, Ethan. I take it you opened your wedding gift." He screamed about harassment, about calling the police. But I smiled quietly to myself. "And what will you tell them? That your mother-in-law gave you a folder full of public records?" In the background, I could hear Rachel crying. The mask Ethan had so carefully worn was finally cracking. Hours later, Rachel called back, her voice trembling. "Mom, what did you do?" "Ethan says you're trying to ruin our marriage." "Sweetheart," I said gently, "ask yourself if it were lies, why would he be so angry? Why wouldn't he want to clear his family's name?" There was a long silence, broken only by her uneven breathing. Then finally, a whisper. "Mom, did his grandfather really steal from Dad?" "Yes, Rachel. Over $2 million. And Ethan's been living off it ever since." Her gasp told me she finally understood. Later that night, She searched Ethan's desk and found emails linking him to offshore accounts. She even reached out to his exes, Emma and Sarah, and heard their stories, nearly identical to hers. That was the turning point. With the help of a lawyer and federal investigators, Rachel agreed to wear a wire. And when Ethan returned, smug and manipulative, his own words condemned him. Promises that once the accounts were under their name, everything would be theirs. Within minutes, agents stormed in and took him away. The trial was swift. Guilty on all counts: fraud, conspiracy, money laundering. Ethan received 12 years in federal prison. Rachel, for the first time in years, stood tall, her voice steady as she told the court, "He stole my trust, my independence, and nearly my relationship with the only parent who ever stood by me." But he failed. Afterward, life became quieter, but stronger. Rachel and I returned to the beach house, the same place Ethan had tried to claim. We sipped coffee on the porch, watched sunsets over the ocean, and began to rebuild what he had almost destroyed. Because this story was never about losing a daughter. It was about finding her again, and making sure no one could ever take her away.